Hello and welcome back to Talking Tunes. I know it's been a little while, but hey, good things come to those who wait. This is the show where a very annoying little fella what's it like myself tells you all the things that I want you to know about rock music. So, let's get cracking, shall we? Oh yeah. In the news today, starting off with a rather grim topic, Marilyn Manson having his house raided after being nominated for 2 Grammys. Motley Crue have sold their entire catalogue for $150 million. Chump change, really. On a slightly lighter side, Dave Grohl has been recording the Hanukkah sessions, and you know what? They're pretty fun. Let's get bloody cracking. Let's get the dark one out of the way first. Marilyn Manson. No one likes talking about him, but he does continue to make headlines. This time because his house in LA has been raided by the LA County Sheriff's Office. They were looking for media devices, from what I understand. So they went in there, they raided him, and they took hard drives, memory sticks, that kind of stuff. I'm assuming to try and find if there is any video evidence of any horrible stuff that he's being accused of doing. Interestingly, recently, Rolling Stone put out a big expose article where they spoke to lots of the accusers. They all got their individual stories, they compiled it, they made a very big, very long write-up, which I skim-read because it's really long, but it does sound pretty condemning. I know I've said it last time that innocent until proven guilty, and I do believe that, but the evidence is definitely stacking up against the guy now. You've got, 20 different people accusing him of stuff in this weird flat that is the one that got raided, or apartment, sorry. Apparently all the walls were painted black and it was kept down to a very cold temperature. Apparently his victims used to refer to it as the meat freezer, and he had a soundproof glass box, which he quotes saying, "If anyone's bad, I can lock them in it, and it's soundproof," which he said to Warner Magazine like a brag in 2012. So, not great stuff, but this is more significant because the Grammys thought it was appropriate to nominate the guy. Here's the quote from the Grammys. "We won't restrict the people who can submit their material for consideration. We won't look back at people's history. We won't look back at their criminal records. We won't look at anything other than the legality within our rules of, is this recording for this work eligible based on the date and other criteria? If it is, they can submit it for consideration." Basically, they're saying, we do not give a shit what person submits what, as long as it hits their own rules. I think that most people have come to the conclusion now that the Grammys is a gigantic farce where privileged people give their own favourite people awards and stuff, and it's all a little bit of this going around left and right. What a shitty line to take. I understand, to some degree, innocent until proven guilty, la 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 la. Music is separated from the artist to some degree, but I also say bollocks. You wouldn't put Charles Manson's music up on there, would you now? I don't think it's that different. So this all came because he featured on a song called Jail on Kanye's album, which has been nominated for Best Album, and it's been nominated for Best Rap Song. And actually, very interestingly, as of yesterday, maybe the day before, they actually took away one of the 2 nominations that Manson had. They took away the one for Best Rap Song. I can't remember quite the loophole behind that one. They basically took him out of the credits, something like that. Might have actually been from Kanye's team, but he is still viable to be nominated for Best Rap Album of the Year. And I believe, as it stands right now, if Kanye wins that award, Manson will get some sort of recognition for it. So, yeah, we'll see how that one plays out. And, yeah, well done, Kanye, for supporting a serial rapist. Moving swiftly on to something a little bit more lighthearted, and that's only bloody Motley Crue selling all of their music catalogue for $150 million. Now, this is a step that is often taken by bands that don't think they're going to be doing a whole lot band-related anymore. I remember reading a couple of years back at this point, I guess, about Twisted Sister doing the same thing, and there was a very interesting article, actually, where they were talking about weighing up the net worth of one's music catalogue. So say you've had your music for 30 years, and you've been accumulating royalties based on that, and then someone comes up to you and says, we want to buy the rights for all of this music, and we want to buy that for $100 million, and you sit there and you do the maths in your head, and you go, well, chances are I'm probably only going to be receiving royalties again for this music for the next 20, 30 years. How much is that going to net me? $50 million. But this record label is trying to offer me $100 million for them. It's easy maths. If you don't care so much about what they do with it, because it does mean, obviously, that it's then out of your control if they want to use it in a shit film, if they want to use it as a collaboration with somebody, if you want to let a rapper use it as a beat, nothing you can do about it at that point. So there is that to consider. Yeah, so apparently 150 million was the number. Now, I did actually do some quick maths on this one. So they've got about 130 tracks, from what I can understand, about, give or take 10 or 15 or whatever, but approximately 130 individual songs that this deal is part of, which means that each song was worth about $850,000, which to me does actually sound like quite a good trade, ratio. So I can't really argue with them too much on that one, even though they are now going back onto a tour which should never have happened, weirdly. They've retired, 3 times now at this point, and the last time they did a tour, they signed a big waiver agreement which basically said, we cannot tour again. In fact, it technically made each band member legally liable if they were to do it again, implying, this is the last ever tour, we're going to do 150, by the way, shows to round out our career, and then that's that, we've signed the thing that says we can't do any more. But, turns out, they can do more, because they're all kind of full of shit, really, aren't they? So Nikki Sixx said after the last time they retired and signed this contract, the only loophole is if all 4 band members agree to do it. We could override our own contract, but we know that will never happen. There are people in this band who will refuse to ever do it again, and you're talking to one of them. There is no amount of money that would ever make me do it again because I have such pride in how we're ending it. Bollocks. Apparently, they're going on it again, which means that all 4 of them have had enough money dangled in front of their little faces and their little tight leather trousers that they decided to go for it. I can't fault a band for wanting to continue to play, even if, your guitarist basically looks like a vampire. I can't fault them for wanting to perform and act. That's fine. I have a slight issue with them misleading people, because, you can argue that people might not have paid the money that they were going to see them on their final tour, had it not actually been the final tour, etc, etc. So I find it a little bit wonky, but Motley Crue have been surrounded by vague levels of intrigue and wonky stuff for quite a long time at this point, so I can't really figure that one out. But hey, if you're a big Motley Crue fan, I'm sure this is not bad news to you. Let us move on. And finally, moving on to the Hanukka Sessions, which is Dave Grohl's new project. Well, I guess not really new. I think it's already been and gone, actually. But fair play to the guy. He just keeps on doing stuff, and it's usually quite entertaining. So this time, he teamed up with Greg Kurstin. I'm sure it's not pronounced how I just said it. And they teamed up, the 2 of them, and they sat in a studio and they recorded a bunch of covers of bands and songs that were written by Jewish people, which is actually really cool. And there's some cool songs that they put on there, including Blitzkrieg Bob, Jump, and Copacabana, which is, after listening to them all, it's my favourite one. It's actually really good. We enjoy the Copacabana. Greg Kurstin, it turns out to be actually a long-time producer of the Foo Fighters, amongst other people, including Beck, Adele, 21 Pilots. He's clearly a big dick swinger in the music industry, which is cool that he bothers to take the time to go sit around with his friend Dave Grohl in a basement somewhere and play keyboard while they jam out to Jewish songs. I've got a lot of respect for them on that one. I would really recommend going and checking them out. They're on the official Foo Fighters YouTube page, so not hard to find at all. And this is, again, coming off the fact that the Foo Fighters have just announced a gargantuan US tour of stadiums. Most bands are now starting to pull their socks up and get back out on the road. One thing that I did think was good is that he did cancel one of the venues almost instantly, hours after it was announced, because it turned out that they were refusing to use his COVID precautions that he was insistent upon. So he just cancelled the show, which I have to say, you get some respect from me for that. The next step is to try and bring the prices down so that not only really rich people can afford to spend £250 a ticket. Well done, Dave Grohl. I like your new Hanukka Sessions. So yeah, thumbs up for me on that one. And finally, wouldn't be a bloody Talking Tunes without a little bit of Tune of the Week. This week, we're going with Dead Christmas by Monster Magnet. Seems like appropriate, it's December, Christmas and stuff. It's not really a Christmas song, but hey, Monster Magnet are a band that I've only recently discovered, even though apparently they've been going since like the late 80s. They are precursors to stoner rock with like Kaya, Josh Homme's first band, so got some good pedigree in them. They're still going apparently, but this song is, it's got a really weird little keyboard line going on in the background, which I find very addictive. The vocals are kind of, not throwaway, but they're quite dismissive, almost talkative in the way that they do it, but I really, there's something to do with it. It's kind of slightly creepy, weird. Oh, well, I guess it's stoner rock, really, but kind of stoner, classic-y rock with a nice keyboard line, and I am a sucker for a keyboard line. So, Dead Christmas, really good track, not too long, kind of chilled out rock and roll vibes. I would really recommend checking that one out. So thank you very much for watching Talking Tunes. If you enjoyed the episode, there's plenty more on my YouTube channel. There's also a couple of original songs chucked in there. Spanglejerps, we've had a rebrand. And also you can check me out on twitch.tv/Spanglejerps, where I play video games, I am looking into trying to get some music streams together, but it turns out that they are logistically a little bit more of a pain in the ass than I was expecting, so, work on that one. But yeah, so come and check me out on Twitch, come and check me out on YouTube. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.